My name is Insane Raven, and this is another episode of IR Reviews. Why did I name it that? I can't say my R's properly. We all know this. And in this episode, we are covering Yokio. It is Netflix's new anime that just came out, 6 episodes long, and I gotta say it's fun. It's a fun show. It is a slice of life, but it's not your normal slice of life. No. It is an upper class slice of life anime. So a lot of what you're seeing is butlers and fancy parties. Also, there's some demon stuff thrown in and some terrorism. Normal everyday slice of life things. No, but there's a lot really in this show that kind of just seems thrown in, and that's a shame. I don't know if Yokio is based off of anything, or if it's actually a pure original Netflix thing that they're doing. But I would have enjoyed if it was just slice of life. But it kind of throws in this demon aspects, and it kind of like, why is this needed? Can someone just real quick tell me why we actually need to have demons in this? Because the show itself is a lot of fun. It follows Kaz, whose last name I completely forget and didn't write down, and him kind of coming to grips with the fact that he's single after a long time, and he's now has to kind of go out into the dating scene, and he has a rival named Archangelo. His rival is named Archangelo, and that's amazing. Like, that is such an awesome name. I want Archangelo to be my rival. Just so I can be like, yeah. My rival's just Archangelo. I beat him all the time. It's whatever, guys. That would be so cool. But yeah. So he has this rival in Archangelo. He has his friends in Lexi and whatever this other guy's name is that I didn't write down. And it's a pretty fun group of characters you have here. However, because there is a demon hunting component to the show, that's kind of where it loses me. So in the first episode, we meet Cass, and we learn that he's real upper class, and he's a demon hunter. And his family is like one of the only family that can do this demon hunting gig in all of Yokio. So this dude is stacked with money. And so is his entire family. And apparently, either most of his family just isn't around, or he's the best at it and just doesn't care. But a lot of Kaz gets sent on a lot of missions, He ends up dishing out a lot of pain for the demons, doing a lot of good, and saving people. The family business. So as Kaz kind of goes through, we see him in the first episode. He's moping. His aunt's like, "Hey, I got a job for you," and she doesn't give him this job because she wants him to get better, or she wants him to be happy, or just wants him to be doing something. She does it because she really likes money, and that's a theme that's kind of pushed throughout the series, is this almost idealization of just material things. It's a theme that a lot of the characters kind of go into, and ends up being central to the rest of the plot. So we have, so in the first episode, we have Kaz going on to do his first job that we see him do, and it being the possession of a girl named Helena. Now, Helena is a fashionista, a teen fashionista blogger, and she's well known throughout the city of Yokio. She knows Cass on a personal level. They partied together. They almost dated, but then Cass started hanging out with. He started dating this other girl, which started the whole breakup. And all that's going on. So that ends up being his first case. And this is part of where the show starts to show its problems, is that the themes it talks about don't really work well when you have this in-depth conversations of, oh, well, materialism is just, it's part of the problem. It's so basic. It's so shallow. It's all this and that. Also, we're going to hunt demons. It doesn't really mesh well, but that's also part of where the show just fails almost on all fronts. When the demon hunting starts, Cass's abilities never really get explained. So there are scenes in the show where it looks like he's doing these really cool things, but because we're not really sure of the extent of his abilities, what his abilities are, all you really see are these blue electric balls flying everywhere. And I'm not sure if I should be cheering him on because this is extraneous work and this is an ordeal at this point, or if it's just a run-in-the-mill thing. Well, Cass's character is very much like, I don't want to do this. It takes away from the stuff that I want to do. Because even though he's the protagonist, he is an incredibly selfish and self-centered person. And that is done really well throughout the show. It's like, oh no, this person is really selfish and self-centered. And it's not the kind of person you want to hang out with. And I don't quite get why all of his friends like this person. Because we never see Cass like throw out money to these people. Or like we hear that he's kind of started out a side project because he wants to, but not because his friends asked. It was almost as if his friends like, hey, you wanna do this thing? And he was like, I mean, that was my idea, but yeah, sure, let's do a thing together. And they open up a bar together. And it's weird. But back to the demon hunting thing. So with the demon hunting, it being so thrown in, Helena is kind of dealing with being possessed. They have a big fight and they move on. Now, Helena is actually the driving force for a lot of the plots in the show. Even though it's not her story, even though she's kind of just been a side character, in the grand scheme of Cass's life, she takes full control of the show. Which is kind of interesting, because later in the show, she has groupies. Every famous person does, and Helena is no different. So Helena's groupies kind of say that, she is the story, she is the reason, she is everything, and their idealistic view of her. And it's fun they put that in there because that's very much what goes on within the show. So it kind of confuses me that the show can have these really intelligent moments of, yeah, we're going to slide this in here, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to do this and that. But then also have this whole, oh yeah, but we're also fighting demons thing going on. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't mesh well. So they're talking about all that, and the plot kind of goes on. You see the rivalry between Archangelo continue. You see the rivalry, you see the continual themes of selfishness and materialism come through, and then you get to the last couple episodes, when like episode 4, I believe, maybe 4, maybe 3. No, it's 4. In episode 4, there is a terrorist attack, and that is a big part of what spurs on the rest of the show, which I'm now gonna talk about in spoilers. So if you want to kind of watch the show for yourself, give it a taste, I highly recommend you do that before coming back to the spoiler part of the show. So remember, this is for spoilers, and this is going to spoil the rest of the show. I'm assuming you're all gone now, so let's continue. So in episode 5, in the wake of this terrorist attack, Archangelo walks up starts hanging out with Gaz, and is like, hey, there's no reason for us to be rivals anymore. Like, the leaderboard, the Bachelor leaderboard is knocked down. We don't have to fight anymore. Which smartly continues to push this theme of materialism causes division, materialism is the problem. And while Helena has kind of become a Buddhist as a result of the exorcism, which is never fully explained, it is revealed that she is she is the terrorist. She has taken down this monument, she says, as she calls it, to materialism and just evil and corruption and all this other stuff. So now Archangel is on Archangelo, which his name is Archangel. Archangelo is now on Cass's side. Helena is now on the run from a character called the Remembrance or Rememberer or something like that. I wasn't really paying attention to his character. It's very annoying. And is now kind of running from the law. And it becomes very clear where Cass's loyalty lies. Why he's incredibly upset that this thing has gone down, because Yokio is, for all intents and purposes, his city, and it's the city that he loves, and the entire reason why he broke up with his other girlfriend at the start of the show and has created this depression in his life. He does care more about Helena, more about these other people than he does about this. He believes in the right and wrong in the situation, and he believes that his friend is innocent in this scenario. So the show continues, and now there is a race. There's a Grand Prix-esque event. Races from all across the globe have now come to Yokio in order to race for riches and glory. This is kind of where it gets interesting, because now Cass's old girlfriend comes back and it's like, hey, my boyfriend's actually the Italian racer, and what's up? And that kind of sparks this second rivalry between Cass and his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, which is interesting to kind of see how it plays out, because you really do understand the girlfriend's point of view. He is a bit of a psycho. At this point, he's kind of followed her the second she's gotten back to the city, and it's kind of like, oh, I see where you're coming from here. And this was a place where Cass's selfishness and Cass's primary character traits of, working for himself could have really shown through. But it's in the season finale where Helena has been stuffed inside the race car as in a last-ditch effort to get her out of the city. Cass is now racing for the Russian driver who has gone AWOL, and it has come down to Cass and the Italian driver. And this is where you get to see Cass's character development as he's grown, because he talks to his... By the way, have I mentioned he has a robot butler? His robot butler, Charles, and goes, Charles, I could win. Right now, I could win. And Charles tells him, I know you can. I know. And he instead drives off and makes the turn and goes out of the city, saving Helena from the law. Which is another interesting thing that I found, because usually at this point, this is the point in animes where it's like, oh yeah, the government's been evil all this time. Helena was right and all this thing. But you don't get that. Instead, you kind of get hints and nudges toward the government might be evil, but there really isn't anything for certain when it comes to this kind of plot line. It's more of Helena believes the government is evil, and it very well could be. In the grand scheme of things, the government could be evil, and that could be a huge plot line in season 2. But instead, we get this running away from the law, and this showdown where you see that Cass hasn't been in on the entire plan, and Helena and Charles has, in fact, switched each other out. Charles is actually a mech suit, and the tiny person inside of them, who usually pilots Charles, has been swapped out and is now hiding in the car, while Helena has now been left to pilot Charles. And everything goes away, and at the end of the season, it comes back to where everything is back to normal. Everything is fine now. You know, Helena is missing. I have a Charles Mark II. My rivalry with Archangelo is back on, and it kind of comes back to this place of, you know, everything is just the way it was before everything happened. But Kaz himself as a character has been changed, and that's the important part, that he's no longer the self-centered Kaz, and he starts to think about what things mean, and he starts to really think about others, and he kind of starts pondering whether his materialism is what he should be prideful of, and whether or not it's actually been a hindrance. Now, season 2 is first off probably going to be made, and I hope it gets made, because I really dug season 1. I mean, I didn't talk about the demon possession stuff so much because to a certain point the show didn't talk about the demon possession stuff so much, and kind of like left it out and then dusted a couple of times. But I do want to have a season 2, and I want them to explore Cass's character development. I want them to explain what Cass's abilities actually are, and I want them to continue to flesh out this world they've created. Because even though there are things that just straight up don't make sense, like what Cass's abilities are, like what are the extents of the city, because there are underwater, there are parts where people live underwater, there are parts where people live in slums. Like, it's very much a society run by materialism and possessions, but you really don't, other than that, you really don't get a good sense for what the rules are. And I want, as weird as it sounds, I want to know what the rules are. I want to know what's happening so I can be amazed and stunned when the rules are broken, and I can get those big wow moments that a lot of animes are known for. But that's just my opinion. And that is going to be the end of this IR review. If you guys watched Yokio, let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you guys have any suggestions for anything else that's coming out on Netflix that you want me to review, let me know in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.